But first to Kaveh Solhekol and that breaking news regarding the potential sale of Manchester United. Good afternoon. What can you tell me?
Well, look, we all know that the Qataris want to buy Manchester United. The question is, how much do they want to buy Manchester United? And the information we have today is that they will not be reckless when it comes to how much they spend on trying to buy United. And if the price is not right, they will walk away from the deal. I know Qataris have this reputation of being people who are ready to throw money at everything, but that is not the case as far as United are concerned. We believe that their indicative offer for the club is worth around £4.5 billion. The Glazers want at least £6 billion. But the sense I'm getting today is that the Qataris do not want United at all costs, and they will not be manipulated into bidding against themselves. They will pay a fair price for United, but they will not be held to ransom. So this image people have of the Qataris coming along and throwing money at United and paying whatever it costs to buy United from the Glazers, my understanding is that that is not right. They will not overpay.
You said they'll pay a fair price. What's a fair price?
Well, according to the New York Stock Exchange, I think Manchester United are worth around £3.5 billion at the moment. Chelsea was sold for £2.5 billion last summer. Most people would say that United probably have more fans around the world. They are commercially more successful than Chelsea historically in the Premier League. So United should be worth a little bit more. But it's quite a leap to go from Chelsea for £2.5 billion to Manchester United for £6-7 billion. The Qataris won't be paying that kind of money. Look, everybody knows that United are a trophy asset, so you have to pay a little bit more. I'm sure the Qataris are prepared to pay a little bit more. Sir Jim Ratcliffe as well is prepared to pay a little bit more, but they're not going to pay the Glazers crazy money for United.
Do the Glazers actually want to sell?
Well, that is a very good question. I think some of the bidders are thinking, what is exactly going on at the moment? Because if the Glazers really, really wanted to sell United, surely one of us would have been granted exclusivity by this stage. That means the process would have moved along quickly, and that would mean that the Glazers were very, very serious about selling the club. I think there are still concerns that maybe the Glazers don't want to sell the club, and also that actually what they do want to do is just sell a minority stake in the club. And they may be using the interest in buying a minority stake to try and drive up the price of the club. For instance, they could be saying, look, we've got a US hedge fund here who want to buy 20% of United for £1 billion. That means the whole club is worth £5 billion. That is something that could be happening behind the scenes. I think if they really, really wanted to sell United at all costs, this process would have moved along a little bit quicker. And one of these parties, maybe the Qataris, maybe Sir Jim Ratcliffe, would have that period of exclusivity now, which they don't have.
So one of the fundamental questions is, are they still, if they ever were, open to selling the whole club if the price is right now?
I think they are. Look, I think the situation is, if you think about it as if you were trying to buy a house. You've got a house, it's a very nice house, it's in a good location, but it needs a bit of work doing to it. And you're thinking, I'm not sure I want to invest more money in this house and pay for the refurbishment. I'm going to stick it on the market and see what level of interest there is out there, what kind of offers I'm going to get. That is what the Glazers have done. Now, a lot of people will say £4.5 billion. It is a world record for a sports club. The world record, I think, at the moment is Denver Broncos, about £3.75 billion. But the Glazers, the club effectively belongs to them. They have total control almost of the club. And if they don't want to sell it, they don't have to sell it. But on the other hand, you have to think they only ever put in around £200 million of their own money into the club. And you're going from turning £200 million to 4.5 billion or 5 billion pounds, a lot of people would say, look, take the money now. How much more do you want to put up with fan protests as well? You will have made an incredible return on your investments. And I think the other problem is, if the Glazers don't sell the club now, what is going to happen to United's share price? Because ever since they came out in November and said they were looking at alternative strategies which could lead to the club being sold, the share price has doubled. So if they were now to turn around and say, the club is off the market, we are staying, what is going to happen to that share price? Because that effectively would mean that instead of having a club that's worth 4.5, 5 billion pounds, they would have a club that maybe could be back to being worth only 2.5 billion pounds.